Hey guys, Linus Tech Tips here, and today I'm going to give you some OSRS tech tips. Tip number 1, instead of one tick skilling, why don't you one tick into a shower? Tip number 2, be more like your RuneScape character. Need something that isn't chicken nuggets. I don't care what you think, they don't heal you 20 HP. And for my last tip, you should always be washing out your poop bucket every night before you go to bed. The overwhelming stench of your chicken nugget should do infested dookie will make your eyes water and may cause you to lose ticks. Pro tip, you can get your mom to change buckets so you don't lose experience.
Welcome to episode 222, all twos this week, of the Wilderness Podcast. I am Dills, and joined with me today is Mr. Heartless. How is it going?
What's up, Dills? Early morning for me over here.
Yeah, we have a 4-hour gap in our times now, and
Dills wake me up at 4:30 in the morning to record the podcast.
I know. I'll send you a message at like 9. I'm like, oh, it's 5 a.m. I hope his phone goes on silent at night.
Oh no, she buzzes.
Oh, does it
I saw
actually?
it. Yeah, I saw it this morning. It's all good. I was getting up anyways, so it worked out. It's not actually 4:30. It's much later.
yeah, but still 6 a.m. on like a Saturday or a Sunday. Anyways, we do have a fair bit to talk about this week. In terms of updates, we have an update on the Quest speedrunning blog. This new game mode where you can speedrun quests. They have the beta out so you can test it out. They released the poll results of the rewards. So we'll get into all of that. We got some updates when it comes to Tombs of a Masket. There has been some ornament kits have been released, which is causing everyone to try to be the first person to complete Tombs of a Masket on like level 600, I think is the record right now. So that record has been complete. But of course, with every new big piece of content, there is a bug and an exploit that was found, and it caused quite a stir in the community. But also linking to Tombs of a Masket, we got a little crack the clue like hunt for a new cosmetic item that was also discovered. I think it only took a couple days, but whatever. And then finally, we have beta worlds out right now to test not just quest speedrunning that I've already mentioned, but the Wilderness Boss rework items and the personally a long-awaited item, the poison dynamite. I don't know why this is in the beta, but it's a unique item just for 10 HP accounts, and I guess they wanted to test it out. That is pretty much it. But Heartless, I know it's been a busy week for you. You had your first week back at school. So how's everything been going?
Oh, it's hard. It's always hard at the beginning of the year.
Do you dread the first week of school?
Yeah, I do, just because it takes like a really serious toll on my mental health.
Oh yeah. Is it just like long hours prepping and maybe nerves with meeting these new kids? Yeah,
there's all that stuff. Plus on the fact like I had a new school. So all these new people, I don't know anyone. New batch of families. Like it always puts me into a pretty bad place for a couple weeks.
Oh boy.
Which it's good to talk about it though.
It's the side of teaching people don't often see.
Yeah, it's the side I always talk about how much I love my job, and that remains the truth. I really wouldn't rather do anything else, but the beginning of the year, especially early in your career, is incredibly stressful. And I get a lot of migraines. So last weekend we couldn't record because I had these like horrible migraines where I was just having to sleep all day because my head felt like someone had hit it with a hammer. Just because from stress. Just up till like midnight working every night. It's not a good cycle. I'm starting to get out of it now, and I am feeling better. So I'm not all down, but yeah, it was a rough couple weeks.
Yeah, it's got to be hard because I know like even just starting like a new job can be kind of nerve-wracking, can be kind of tough because all these new people, new tasks and all that. But then you throw on this other dynamic of where you're teaching, kids, and these kids have family. Like this, there's so much more than just meeting your employees. It's you have all of the other things involved as well, which gotta be tough. Now, do you think this is something that is just always going to be hard, or do you think as years go by, you're going to be able to just find this rhythm where it just gets easy?
I think it's going to be hard. I feel like everyone out there goes through things that I'm going through right now with work or life in general. Like you go through periods of like high stress and uncertainty, and it just takes a toll on you. So I think whether it's teaching or who knows, like something's happened and you're moving to a new town. There could be like any number of things that could be stress in relationships.
Yep.
Like this, I'm sure this happens to lots and lots of people. So, we're not impervious, are we? So it has been tough, but I am on the mend. I am starting to feel a lot better. Life is starting to feel a bit more balanced now. Looking forward to keep going. My class is nice. I like them. It takes a couple weeks for them to like settle in. So yeah, they're pretty good. I only have 20 of them, so it's not too bad.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Now, so you have your week. It's full forced. You need some time to relax. Do you play RuneScape during these times, or or do you recoil from it a bit and look for other things to relieve stress?
That's a good question, Tills. I like RuneScape a lot, and it does relieve my stress when I'm not doing next. So yeah, I wish I could play it. I just didn't have time because I was just working all the time. I might have gotten I think I got 4 raids in last week, and then probably about the same before, and maybe on Saturday I got a couple extras in. But yeah, it's not much. It's just the way it is. But now I'm kind of back to more normal levels of playing, a couple hours a day. 2 or 3. Yeah.
When your real life is hectic, do you find that you're still trying to PVM as much, or do you kind of move to more, skilling or more relaxing things?
That's a good question. Sometimes I'll move to like mining or so. I've been doing fishing recently because I quite like it. So yeah, it's sometimes more relaxing things, but I still like raids, so I still try to do the raid here and there.
Mm-hmm.
But what I would do is I wasn't doing you remember how I said I was going to push for 300 levels?
Yep.
I was not doing that when I was not feeling well last week.
Mm-hmm.
Because I didn't want to wipe and get upset. I wanted it to be relaxing. So I stayed on 200 invocations at Toa. So that I would just kind of enjoy the raid rather than it being sweaty.
Yeah, no, that's a good call. I mean, I completely understand. I had last week sometime, it was so my kid goes to bed at 7 p.m. every night, and then I go to bed at 10 p.m. But me and the missus watch TV at 9:30. So I got about an hour to 2 hours of gaming every night, or 2 hours to do whatever I want. But I came down, I did Tombs, and then I flubbed on a part of Tombs. It was the waves at Zebek from the Path of Krondis. I always call them Krondis by accident, but I flubbed on the waves, got hit, and then I died. I got so tilted. I was like, I'm done. I'm not playing RuneScape tonight. I was very upset. I got very in a non-gamer mood. I was probably very tired. Didn't get much sleep the night before, I think. But then I was like, what do I do? If I'm not going to play RuneScape, what the hell do I do? I'm not really playing any other games. An hour isn't that much time to start, boot up a new game of something that I haven't played in a while. I'm not really watching I don't really watch a whole lot of TV. And it was this weird, I was I don't know what to do. And I was went upstairs to the wife, and I was sat on the couch, and I was I feel weird. I don't know what to do. I have an hour to do whatever I want, but I can't figure it out. So anyways, it was all stemmed from flubbing on something in Tombs, and it frustrated me. Made me rage quit. So I get it. You don't want to do anything too challenging if you are trying to unwind and relax.
Yeah, I'm notorious for also immediately quitting when I wipe something. It's I have been doing Tob with Doormat before Toa was released, and he knows I've only got one good run in me, and I'm done. If we wipe Hatov, I'd be out. It's tough.
Mm-hmm.
No, I
get,
feel for you, Dills. It's not easy.
That's the problem with PvP. It's kind of with gaming in general. We both used to play League of Legends, and I remember like I would get really into it, and then I would reflect on my evening, and I was like, I had a lousy evening after work because I played League, and I lost 3 or 4 matches, and that's not fun.
I'd go to bed being like, what the fuck? Just like so mad. And then my girlfriend's like, you okay? I was like, no, I lost. And I started to realize, like, is it that important that I'm going to bed? Is it worth it, the high times that I'm going to bed that angry? No.
Yeah. So I need a game that like guarantees that I'm going to have fun. Not like you flip a coin and you might have a shitty 40-minute match.
Do you think RuneScape's that game?
I think it can be that game because it has so much to it where you can like do some Guardians of the Rift, something that, Guardians of the Rift is awesome because you can't really lose. You always win. It's just like by how much for them. I mean, you can lose. It's just very rare for you to actually lose in it. I find PVM can be tough though. PVM can be very tilting. I've had this Sire task and I'll do a few trips, but it's kind of what you said. As soon as I die at Sire, I don't want to do it anymore. I don't want to do Sire.
I wonder if that's, we're kind of lucky that there's so much different PVM in the game. You can kind of just pick and choose what you want to do. So like maybe one night if you're not feeling great or whatever, you don't feel like pushing yourself on those like high level raids or CMs or anything. You can just go do a Slayer task or something, maybe not Sire, but Dagon Kings. Kind of pick your favorite boss that you love and go back to it. I think that's what's so great about this game. Or you could just go do some skilling or mini games.
Or you throw on some new you go down a YouTube rabbit hole or throw on this new show. I'm gonna do a quick little tangent. Have you ever seen the show Alone?
Yeah. Is that the one on it was on OLN in Canada?
I think it's on the History. Like I'm watching it on Prime, and it has the History Channel logo.
Oh, is it the guy where he's just lobbed up in the woods and then he just lives there, or I think it's something else?
Sort of. It's like a reality show.
It's like Survivor Man style.
Yeah, it's like Survivor Man. So Survivor Man it's an awesome. I really like. It's an awesome show.
That was a great show. I used to watch that a lot when I was a kid.
Yeah, I love it. This guy just goes, he takes a backpack with random items and then he goes somewhere in the world and he goes to live there for like somewhere in the wilderness. He doesn't go to like live in Toronto for a week. He goes to like the desert.
The real wilderness right there.
Yeah, exactly. But he'll go to like the desert and he'll try to live there for a week. And sometimes he can't. Sometimes he has to tap out and call for help. But it's really good. It's pretty authentic. He has to do all the filming himself, and he talks about how difficult it can be to walk up a giant hill because he has to do it twice. Once to get the camera shot, and then he has to go back and grab the camera and then go up. So it's not like the Bear Grylls show where Bear Grylls has a film crew with him that's filming it. So it's very authentic. It's a great show. I really like it. If you haven't seen it, definitely check it out. His name's Les Stroud. He on YouTube, he uploaded all the episodes and he also does commentary, which is pretty awesome. He did that back in 2020. But Alone is the exact same premise, except it has 10 contestants and they all get dropped off. I'm watching the first season and they get dropped off in Vancouver Island in like this rainforest. And it's just like last man standing.
Hey, it's where I live.
yeah, man, you might see them if you go out there. Obviously the season's done, but it's a wild show. So I was like, anyways, I found it this week and I was like, I'm going to sit back, I'll do some Temperos, or I'll do some Guardians of the Rift. I'm just going to watch this show, and it was awesome. So anyways, I don't know how this show is legal. There's bears and there's cougars and wolves and people
don't know how it's legal.
I don't know how they do it. They encounter these animals, and they have to call for help sometimes, and it takes like 4 hours for the rescue crew to get there. I don't know how that show is allowed to be made, but whatever. It's pretty good. So anyways, RuneScape's great because you can watch a show like that and you can chill out, do some Temperos, do some Guardians of the Rift, do some, I was going to say Winter Todd, but that could be a little bit annoying because of the public chat. That might not be a great way to relax, but it could be if you like it. Anyways, slight tangent. Okay, so you're doing a little bit of easier PVMing, kind of kicking back. So like I guess it's been a couple weeks now at this point. How have has your feelings towards Tombs of Amascut changed since I guess when we last talked about it?
Since the rebalancing.
I guess so, yeah.
No, not really. I like it still. It's fun. Yeah, I think it has pretty good replayability. The invocation system is really strong. You can just change things up all the time. So I have been doing 300s this week. I'm up to 9 KC solo now. Or
nice.
Maybe a little bit less solo, but I have like 9 or 10 KC. And they're getting pretty comfortable for me. I shouldn't say they're easy, but they're getting comfortable. Now, I haven't been running with what's it called? The one at the very end that's really fast. Insanity. Not because that's I can't do it.
Okay, yep.
But because Insanity is the one where the warden will I think it's 2 tick. So it goes 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So you have to move really quickly. And then if you only have like a couple ticks of delay on the red skulls, or else it'll insta kill you.
Really? You gotta get perfect.
But since I have like 50 ping is like my best world, and the worlds have been struggling recently since Toa, it can be difficult to not miss any ticks during the skulls phase. So I find it incredibly frustrating to like if the world isn't the best or like I'm just being kind of slow and I miss one of the skulls. I find it very frustrating to just instantly lose the whole raid.
Yeah.
So because it's pretty punishing, which is fine. Like Insanity is hard, so instead I've just turned off Insanity and turned on Walk the Path, so it makes the rooms a little bit harder. But I've been getting easy completions in like 32 minutes, so it's not even that much slower. Yeah. So overall, I'm pretty happy with the setup. So, but if it was a regimented raid, I just kind of have to deal with that frustration, rather than be like, I don't like it, I'm just going to turn off and put something else on. But not everyone might have the same opinion, and that's fine. And I think that's what's really cool about the raid.
Yeah, I do agree. I might have said this last episode, but it's got some of the things that I hate the most is in this raid, but the things that I love the most is also in this raid. Like I love the final fight with the wardens. It's really grown on me. It's now my like I would say it's like my favorite fight in the game. I think it's fun. It can be challenging, but not too challenging. It's very cinematic. The music is awesome. It feels, I don't know, it just feels like epic. It reminds me of when you're fighting the fragment of Saren in Song of the Elves. Yeah, it's awesome. Like you enter the room and no music is playing. I always listen to music when I'm doing this raid, but when you enter it, music stops and it's just dead quiet. And you're like, oh shit, what the fuck? And then when you start the fight, then music kicks on and it's pretty awesome. And then, with the invocation system, I was struggling with 150 normals. But then eventually all just clicked and I was able to easily do it. So I was like, every new raid, I'd add on a new invocation. I got to 180. And then I realized I was like having so many supplies left afterwards. I wasn't dying, nothing. So I was like, shit, I'm just going to ramp this up. Ended up ramping it up to 200 without any speed invocations, just because I wanted to be able to take my time. And it's fun. Every new difficulty is like, it's intense. Like it feels like it's your first time completing it. And then I think the end of the fight where, if you don't know, basically like the third phase, fourth phase, you're on this like platform and these tiles just start getting ripped out of the ground and the area you have to move around gets smaller and smaller. And it's kind of like a race to kill them before all of it is removed, even though it stops at one row. But that just the visually, it adds so much to the intensity of the fight, seeing the floors getting ripped up. And I'm like, holy fuck, this is intense. So anyways, I really enjoy it. And it makes every time I've completed, I've got maybe 30 KC now, 25. I don't know. I got to check. But every time I've done it with a little bit more difficulty, it feels like the first time I completed it. So it's a lot of fun. It's good.
I'm glad you're enjoying it.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's fun. So I'm gonna keep going until we get some more items. Oh, I did manage to get another purple.
Is this gonna be your first purple from it?
Second one, I had got the ward on the first day,
Right.
and then I got the fang the other day. So
That's sick. Have you had a chance to use it?
oh yeah, it's so good. It's incredible.
Right. The whole thing behind the Fang is that it doesn't hit as high as another weapon that's on its same DPS level, but it's more consistent, right? Does it feel that way?
Yo, yeah, it's so accurate. It's ridiculous because it has such a high strength bonus too, and just general accuracy. It is 5 ticks, so it's a little slower. You have to get used to using it.
That's cool.
But yeah, no, it's great. And I even took it to Nex last night, the dreaded prison.
So you went back to Nest.
Oh no, my friend, a couple of my friends were messaging me. They're like, any fangers? So we went out and tried it, and it was really good. So we did 3 mans.
That's awesome.
For about 2 hours. Yeah, I enjoyed myself. It was nice to use the fang there.
Does it make you hate the fight less?
Yeah, because it completely shreds the boss. So you can do melee duos now, whereas like rapier could be like relatively inaccurate against Nex sometimes, even though it's an accurate weapon. Nex is so tanky. I'm convinced that they made the Fang because of how they fucked up Nex so badly.
That's funny.
Torv is still on my site, so I'm gonna get some Osori, and then I'll go back and do some more sessions. So,
yeah, that's awesome.
It's been RuneScape.
I've purchased a new item from there. I didn't get this. I did get the ward unique, which is kind of it's still good. I sold for about 22 mil, but it's kind of like the stinkers of any of the rewards.
It's stinker, dude.
Yeah. It looks like a gingerbread man, so people call it that. But I purchased the Lightbringer, which is this ring that comes from it. Was it Lightbearer?
Yeah.
I call it Lightbringer. It's from a book series I'm reading. So you get the Lightbearer, has no requirements, which is kind of cool. It costs me about 60 mil or so. But what it does is it recharges your special energy like 2 times as fast. And oh man, what a cool item that is. What I love about it is that I'm finding all these weird places to bring it. And when I say I'm finding all these weird places, I mean mostly just one place that I'm bringing it, which is when I go do Sire, which I didn't think would be particularly good. But the first phase of the Sire fight, you're not fighting the boss. You're just fighting these vents. And that's like a perfect time to throw on the ring. It usually brings you up to 50% special energy. So then you can Dragon Warhammer the Sire, whereas otherwise, I don't always have spec ready to fight Sire. So I just toss it on there, and it's cool. And I love an item like that where it's it's a utility based item, and you don't really use it because of the stats on it. But the little special effect from it, it's going to find all these cool little spots to bring it. I was doing some prayer training in the Chaos Altar in the wilderness. And I wanted to add a little bit extra fun. So instead of suiciding or instead of bringing defensive gear, I brought some offensive gear, thinking I'm going to fight anyone who shows up to fight me, do a little anti-PKing. And I realized that I'm thinking about bringing this ring because it would give me 1 extra spec while I'm fighting. Like the average PK fight that I find myself in is like, if I had this ring, I could do another D-Claw spec at some point, which would be pretty cool. Never really had a chance to test it out.
Yeah, it seems to be
was there
best in slot for PKing now.
Oh, really? You see a lot of PKers bringing it out.
Yeah, because PKing at the highest level can come down to attrition, but it can also come down to like spec RNG. Yeah. So having access to 1 or 2 additional specs in a prolonged fight can just completely turn the tide.
That's cool.
Especially because like bringing a Berserker ring is like, it maybe adds a couple max hits to your melee, but so much of the time you're ranging or maging, it doesn't really matter, the extra damage. So the spec is far more valuable.
Wow, that's cool.
And the same goes for this Mumpton's Fang because it's so accurate. I've been seeing PKers bring it, and then they're just chopping through people with like Din's Bulwarks or even Protect Melee on. So both of them have made a pretty big impact in PvP.
That's interesting. You
see, this is how PvP gets updates, is updates disguised as PVM updates. It's the only way they can come into the game.
I was gonna say
the Void Walker that's coming out, which is just like the old RS3 Karasi, right? Or RS2 or whatever it was, which is like a spec that deals shit ton, but it's in magic damage. I think anyways, it's like apparently it was like super broken back in the day because it was like a low spec, and you like combine it with this other ring so that you could just destroy people.
Wow.
But it's got the exact same stats. So interesting. Yeah, they disguise them as PvP updates.
Yeah, I mean, it's cool that there's these new items that now have its use. I think the average probably PK is like, I'm not bringing a 200 mil item out into the wilderness. But still, I guess the idea.
But the ring is only 20 mil.
The ring's talking about 20 mil.
Yeah, the Fang is like maybe like 1,670.
Okay. Oh my Jesus. Wow. I should have waited 2 weeks. I bought this thing for 60 mil. Oh, that hurts to see. Even though I'm not going to sell it. No,
you got merched.
Yeah, it's okay. Still, it's a very cool item, and I love the light bearer is like something you don't really know where it's going to be good, and then you just start like I didn't realize it was going to be good for PKing in general. I was just thinking like my one use case of anti-PKing, but I love items like this. I hope we see more that allows players to kind of discover where it can find its use in random little spots in the game without it just being a new best in slot straight up. So a nice little ring switch in between fights or something.
Yeah, no, I think you'll find some good uses for it. So yeah, overall it's been good. So I'm glad to be back playing RuneScape and gonna hit Toa pretty hard now.
That's great. You're back at it.
Hopefully I'll get the big magical stick. Hopefully, fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. Well, on that note, we do have a bunch to talk about. Do you want to hop into the news?
Yeah, let's.
Okay, well, let's keep it Tombs related because there's a bunch of fun stuff going on here. I guess first things first is they brought out some new cosmetics or ornament kits, which is becoming this new, I was going to say like trend, but it's like this new principle. I don't know. Heartless, you might have the word for it, but every new raid now is going to be like, I think it's expected to be having ornament kits that are achieved only by doing the harder version or doing the raid at its hardest difficulty for the most part. Chambers of Xeric with the challenge mode where you have to do every single room, every fight's a little bit harder, and you have to beat it under a certain amount of time. You have a chance at getting a ornament kit for your ancestral. And then, of course, with Theater of Blood, there is a hard mode, which just makes every fight a bit harder or significantly harder. And this gives you some ornament kits, two for your scythe, one for your sang staff. Is there another one that I'm missing?
Rapier.
Oh, this is one for the rapier. Interesting. Yeah. And then, so now with Tombs of Amaska, we finally got these ornament kits, which works a little bit different. Everything else has it through RNG. You have a small chance at getting these items, which can be frustrating for a lot of people who are, let's say, I see it a lot in our Discord because people are doing a lot of challenge mode Chambers of Xeric, but they're not getting the ancestral recolors. And then
the boys are dry on kits.
And then, Dills shows up, asks to do a learner, or actually gets invited to do a learner. Boom, you get it. I get it on my first KC. So that can be kind of frustrating. But the way they did it with Tombs of Masket is if you can set your invocations to a specific level and complete it, you will obtain the recolor. Like it's a guaranteed item. So the recolors are an ornament kit for your Avis accumulator, your ranged backpack, one for your what is it? Ward of Eladinus? Is that the name of it?
Yeah, one for your upgraded ward.
Yeah, okay. One for your Ward of Eladinus, and one for the Fang, so they all just kind of make it more, and it matches some of the other Tombs of Masket rewards. So you can, if you're wearing full Missouri, your backpack will also match it, which is really cool. And if you have a max cape, you can also now recolor that as well. And then just like every single other raid, we didn't mention it, but each you will be able to unlock a pet transmog for each of the other bosses in Tombs. Yeah, so like if you want to do Ava's assembler, recolor, or ornament, you have to complete it at raid level 350. And then for the Eladinas ornament kit, it's 425. For the Fang, it's 500. And for the transmogs, you need to beat you need to beat the boss with no deaths occurring, with all the invocations turned on, and you have to complete it at a raid level 450 or higher. So this means you basically have to complete it 4 times to get every single pet recolor, but that's kind of neat. So anyways, all the boring stuff is out of the way. How do you like this system where you are guaranteed this reward if you can complete it at a certain difficulty versus the RNG reward that we have with the other 2 raids?
I think it's good. It's only really viable with something like this where you have the invocation system. Because then you can lock them behind certain the known difficulties, kind of like the Inferno Cape or Fire Cape are locked behind certain pieces of content. This is like the same idea. Yeah, no, I think it's really good. It pushes people. It's like a one and done thing. So it doesn't, the thing about let's say Dust or Twisted Kits, even though maybe you go dry for them, it does force you to engage with the content for a significant period of time. So, you have to do roughly 400 challenge modes to get everything done. Whereas this, you maybe only do a couple really high invocation raids, and then you can go back to more comfy 300s, 350s, or whatever you feel like once you've done the big ones. But I think it's good. It's good to have variety. I wouldn't want them all to be like this, nor would I think it's really possible with the way content is designed. But for this raid specifically, I think it's a really good way to engage with the content.
Yeah,
What about you? What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. It had me thinking, should Chambers have it so you are guaranteed, kind of like Vorkath, where when you get 50 KC at Vorkath, you're guaranteed the
like a pity timer?
Yeah, you're okay, you get the assembler upgrade after 50 KC if you haven't already got it. Same with the head at the Calphite Queen, where if you go double the drop rate, you are guaranteed the head that you can use for the diary. It has me thinking, would this be a good idea to bring to Theater of Blood and Chambers of Xeric, where it's okay, after 100 challenge modes, you're guaranteed 1 ornament kit? Or is it better to just leave it at, that was just a number.
I don't know. No, I don't know. That's a good question.
I think I do like part of things being RNG based. It gets exciting to oh, you stumbled on this really rare item. But also, we see posts all the time of someone going very, very, very dry, and that also is not very fun. Even random stuff going for your Dragon Warhammer. We had someone in our Discord who went almost what was it? Almost 40k kills dry. 30k, even whatever. You get that high. What's the difference between 30k and 40k? That's such a crazy amount of time. I saw someone on Facebook post about getting the King Black Dragon pet after 20,000 kills. So stuff like that.
I know that guy.
Oh, really? Interesting.
Yeah, I took a picture of him at Chambers with me and my alt account, who both have the KBD pets at ridiculously low rates.
So stuff like that.
Poor fella.
Going dry is not fun.
It is brutal. So what do you think, Dills, if we implemented a system across the entire game, not just for kits, where as soon as you're 2 times the rate of an item, your chances to get the item increase?
Whew. Okay. Is this going to be a hot take? I think that's a pretty good idea. People aren't going to I know a lot of people probably don't like that, but I mean, I've thought this about going pet hunting with skilling. But I always thought, so right now, if you get 200 mil experience, your chance to get the pet is it 11 times or 12 times better? Something like that.
Once you hit 200 mil, it's huge. It's a huge multiplier.
So it's a fairly big multiplier.
It's over 10 for sure. I'm pretty sure. I'll look it up while you keep talking.
Cool. So I always thought so I'm I saw that, I'm good. You get 200 mil, you should have you should get a better chance getting the pet. But I always felt that You know what? I think after level 99, your pet chance should increase because nobody likes to grind. I mean, you're at level 99, it should increase a little bit. And then I always thought if you got to 200 mil, you should just get the pet because that's crazy to keep grinding. And then there's this story of this guy who has 200 mil farming experience and still has no pet and has still been
15.
grinding. Is it 50 times?
15 times. 15.
15. Okay. But this one person has 200 mil farming, still grinding for the pet, and it's been about 2 years and they still don't have it. So something like that, it's like, if you get 200 mil experience, you should just get it. So I don't think I would be upset if they were like, you're going to increase drop rates once you go 2 times dry.
But yeah, you could even, and then what would the rate be? Like, well, once you're 2 times dry, you have double the chance to get it. 3 times the chance. That's where the numbers would have to come in.
Yeah.
But let's just pick arbitrarily. So let's say you're at. Here's the thing, though. Like, let's say you're corrupted gauntlet, for example, and we'll make it so that as soon as you hit double the drop rate, you have a 3 times chance to get the item you're looking for. Okay, let's just pick that out of the hat. I don't know if it's the right or wrong. So now your enhanced weapon seed chance on your 801st kill becomes like 1 in 140 or something like that. Okay, 1 in 130. Like, let's say that's what it is. Now let's say you get the enhanced weapon seed at like 900 KC and you're excited. Does that RNG then reset to the base level? That's where it gets confusing.
Yeah, it does. My gut goes like, yeah, maybe reset it, but
do you now go back down to 1 because you've gotten it once? Do you go back down to the original rate?
Yeah.
And then it restarts the timer? I think that's probably how it would have to work.
Mm-hmm.
Or else it would be complicated. It's also, I wonder if that's a complicated system to implement. Honestly, I wouldn't mind something like that if it was reasonable. You know what I mean? Like, at least double the drop rate, and then you start to get a more increased chance.
Yeah, because even double the drop rate for some items, like the Dragon Warhammer, for instance, that's still 1 in 2,500. That's still like pretty rare.
And I'm not even sure. I wouldn't even say it is catering to Iron Men, sure, but it's also kind of catering to just everyone. No one likes going dry.
Yeah, and
so like, let's say it's roughly 8 million points to get a Chambers item. So let's say you're at 16 mil points. So you're double the rate. You've done like 60 solo KC by yourself, just a regular main, or you're like in a team or something, and you've hit the point cap. That's where it kind of maybe get confusing in team stuff, but I don't know. I think it's possible for certain pieces of content that they could do it.
Yeah, one thing that's always made me feel a little like weird is that there's a bunch of grinds in this game that are just like, they're like really unhealthy to grind, and a lot of people say, well, you don't have to grind it, but like, I mean, come on, people are going to grind it, and it's just,
which ones you talking about?
Well, like, there's weird ones. Like, the first one that comes to mind is the fish sack from aerial fishing. That's like a 200-hour grind of something that's just like, it might be even more, but it's like, it's a lot of hours for a cosmetic item for something that's not even fun. And you know, people play this game. There's going to be some people who just like have to have it. And it's like, it's weird to like lock something to be so rare that you're going to spend 200 hours doing something that kind of sucks.
That is kind of a little different because that's more like an object or an item that not a lot of people will go for. Whereas like the pity timer thing would be for every single player. Like
the Dragon Warhammer is a big one because it's like, Iron Men need it, but 1 in 5,000 is such like a. It's just, to me, I'm like, that's such a gross number. Like or all the Vorkath uniques are like 1 in 1,000 at least. Like, to expect someone to kill Vorkath 1,000 times, that's like, it feels very unhealthy for a game that we're supposed to play, and a game that we know is like highly addictive to many people.
Yeah, but here's the thing: like, even if this pity timer was involved, like I think it's 1 in 5K for a skeletal visage. Let's say you're hunting a skeletal visage, like the new drop rate wouldn't come into place until over 10,000 KC.
Yeah, that's what I'm like. I think that drop rate alone is pretty bad and unhealthy, and it kind of makes me gross to think that that's been like put in the game. But then at the same time, and then like double it once you go double that drop rate. It's like, yeah, that should be in the game because that's like how many hours at that point?
Yeah, double it when you go double the drop rate. Seems like I would be okay with that across the game. There's some places where it would be trickier, and then you have to reset once you get an item, like reset to base RNG. And I don't know how it would work with raids, but I think that's something that would like maybe help the mental of going dry.
Yeah,
for mains and for irons. So it's a potential. I don't know how we went down this rabbit hole, but about it.
Talk about the chance at getting the transmog or the ornament kits from different raids.
Yeah. So back to that. I think it's cool. I did manage to get the Masori crafting kit for my Avas.
Nice.
So I have the desert Avas. It's the easiest one to get. It's a 350.
How do you like it? Does it look good?
It's hideous because I have Arma. But as soon as I get some, it's really nice looking with Masori.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah. So it's an interesting system. I do like that you can, you are guaranteed it once you beat it at a certain level. Because then you feel like you're rewarded for it. You don't feel like you have to grind a bajillion times to hope you don't go dry. So yeah, there's some great stuff there. We kind of split up talking about updates into two parts. We have the actual updates and official Jagex stuff, and then we have like community chatter because the community has to make a fuss about something. But
I mean, there's a good one this week.
Yeah, because this is raids related. Let's just tie it in here. A bug was found, and it was kind of like kicking it. It was kind of on the hush hush. Even when I was raiding with some people, they were like, "Word on the street is there's this bug on how to." Effectively get multiple uniques because normally you don't, or not even just multiple uniques, but also you get multiple chances at uniques instead of just one chance per raid. And the way to do that is, so when you kill the boss, there's this like teleporter that brings you into the rewards room. But what you can do is, I'm going to explain it. Heartless, you let me know if I got it wrong, but one person goes into the raids room and then leaves, and then the next person goes in, and then because nobody is in that rewards room, everything resets when that next person goes in. And essentially you could get multiple uniques or multiple chances at the unique if you didn't get it the first time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. So you have 8 people, you have 8 chances to get eight do-overs to get a unique at whatever your chances as a team.
Right. So this has been going on for a couple weeks, it seems. And then as the rumors started, I heard about it, and then I guess Jagex found out and they had to patch it. But what happened was a lot of people started calling for these players getting banned. Presumably, probably a lot of like top tier raiders or a lot of a lot of PVM clans might have figured this out and then tried to keep it within their clan, which would allow them to essentially get more uniques, causing prices to go down, causing people to accumulate more wealth. Of course, this pissed off a lot of people who probably didn't realize this was a thing until after it got patched. And a lot of people are saying Jagex needs to ban anyone involved with this bug. I don't think anyone has been banned, but people have. That became a very controversial topic of people saying they need to get banned. What are your thoughts? Do you think people should be banned for?
I mean, I think we should cue the music for this one, Dills. So, should people be banned? Let's back up a little bit. How did this even get discovered? Is the real question. My guess, it was an inside job.
I think I know where you're going with this.
Someone at Jagex leaked the information to their friends. And then they started running it, yoinking their purples, getting that employee in on the real world trading side of it to make as much money as they possibly could. And then when it was finally widespread enough, the Jagex was like, "Oh yeah, we'll deal with it." But then to stem the flow of the bleeding, they dialed back the drop rates of purples. All in this great conspiracy to increase their wages, their personal income.
They're just getting paid less than minimum wage. I mean, a lot of people have been asking for drop rates. I don't recall how fast Jagex turned around with the drop rates from Chambers of Xeric or Theater of Blood or any other bosses for that matter. Next, I do recall it was pretty quick. It feels like a week or a
it
few
was
days.
huge. Yeah.
So, I mean, it could be that one, they were like, let's not do it because, we're my clan or my group of friends or people I know are kind of taking advantage of this new exploit. Or two, Jagex is like looking at like the numbers counter and they're just like, okay, the drop rates are this. But how the hell is a large group of people getting so lucky? And they just can't figure out why. What the hell's going on?
Or why has there only been so many raids and there's so many more purples coming into the game? Mind you, I think the real issue with this bug was that it was hard to detect because only so few people knew about it. The rumors of it didn't get spread quickly. So people got to take advantage of it for a significant amount of time. Yeah.
I mean,
the damage was already done, right? So
it's
do you put it behind Jagex to have a silent nerfing button where they just dial back the rates for a little bit?
I mean, if they were worried about things dropping, I mean, there's a lot of times where something screwed up and it destroyed a specific item. I'm thinking of like archer rings from RuneScape 3 or RuneScape 2 where somebody lost. I can't remember exactly what happened. I could look it up. Somebody lost some archer rings from some bug or something. Jagex decided to replace them. Somebody accidentally times how many he got, and he got like hundreds of thousands of archer's rings, and then overnight crashed the price of an archer's ring from like 6 mil all the way down to like 13K. Like kind of overnight that happened. And Jagex actually had no way of just removing archer's rings because they couldn't figure out which ones were like duplicated by Jagex and which ones were, they can't just like remove half of the archer's rings in the game because then it's like, Heartless, yours is duplicated, mine's not, but you keep yours. Mine gets ripped out just because of RNG. That's not good. But I do. Now I might be mistaken, but I was under the impression that there are some JMods who are in PVM clans.
Yeah, there are.
And that always kind of feels like a conflict of interest. It gets a bit weird. We saw this with Mod Jed, probably one of the best, worst stories to ever come from this game, where a JMod was in a PvP clan and he was wrapped up in DDoSing and doxing and ended up stealing a bunch of gold from other players because he knew he could just pull passwords because he had access to the database. And then, of course, he's hanging out with people who are doing some illegal stuff and, well, like video game illegal stuff, RuneScape illegal stuff. And I would be very shocked. I would be very shocked if a lot of the top tier PVM clans don't have some sort of real world trading thing going on where they're doing. I mean, I can't confirm, obviously.
I can. We keep that music going, Dills. We've talked about this before, that certain unnamed clans, I mean, PVM or PvP, all of them real world trade at the top level. There are people in these clans, you can go into them, into their discords openly, and it'll literally say DM for cape.
Yeah.
You DM them, you buy an infernal cape for 500 mil, and then they go into RWT that for a couple $100. And you can see it right there. It's like openly advertised on like a number of large PVM clans. Mm-hmm. And Jagex knows about this because a bunch of the mods are in the friggin' clans. So like there's no way they don't know that this is going on. But we've talked about how they just turn a blind eye to it.
Yeah, and it's like it goes, it's not even just clans, of course, it's big discords. Go to like any massive discord, they get sponsored by other Discord servers. So you go to like the gear Discord, or maybe I shouldn't name names because I can't confirm it, but let's see real quick.
I can.
Okay,
the gear Discord.
So I go to the gear Discord right now.
Gear Discord is owned by Oblivion,
and
so they definitely do it.
But then you go to the gear Discord. So the OSRS gear Discord is basically this hub where you can find the best setups for specific bosses, and they're based on kills per hour, not so much like it'll have the best amount, like the best items, even if it costs a lot of money per hour to use, because you got the scythe, maybe the sang staff, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. It's just all about getting kills per hour. But you go onto this Discord, because it's great. Everyone's in it. Tons of people in it. You go to the top, and guess what? This Discord server is sponsored by another Discord server. What Discord server? It's a Discord server that buys and sells RuneScape names, right? So you can buy a RuneScape name, let's say a 3-letter, 2-letter, 1-letter Discord name, or RuneScape name, for about 25 bill. It says. That's what they're saying right now. I'm looking at it. Like, what do you do with this 25 bill? You probably are gonna. I mean, if I got handed 25 bill, but I was running this type of server that sold names, I'm probably gonna real world trade that. So it's like,
or you like scroll down the sidebar and it doesn't take you many scrolls to find a guy that says selling infernal capes, selling and selling CA times DM.
Yeah.
It does not take you long to find these people on these large trusted Discords. And these people are usually also in positions that are trusted, like admin or whatever. It's not difficult. And Jagex, you could probably just search for Mod Arcane and he's in here. On the Gear Discord. Yes, there he is. So, like, it doesn't take very long to, like, look for these people. Anyways, this is not related to the purple stills. I've been down this tangent before. If we're gonna kill the music, I actually do think the purple bug was just somebody that accidentally found it.
Yeah.
And then told their friends. And I don't think Jagex dialed back the rates or anything, but they should probably just ban everyone that was involved.
Now, I agree.
It is, like, pretty serious bug abuse. Like, if you come across that, like, it's tempting to take advantage of it and abuse it, but that is bug abuse. Because you should know that shouldn't be how it works, and you should report it for the integrity of the game. Yeah. Anyways,
I agree with all your points as well, but it does get tricky when a lot of these, big Discords that, are suspiciously pulling in a lot of money from different services. Then you got JMods hanging out in there. Did they know beforehand? You can't ever really say or know. Now, should everyone get banned? That's a tough one. That is tricky. But I'll be honest, when I found out that this could happen, the people I was raiding with were like, let's do this. Let's do this at the end of the raid. Now, we all forgot. We all got excited for the potential purple that we all ran into the instance right away at the end. But we were saying, okay, let's do it. Let's do it at the end. Did I think I would have got banned if I did it? I didn't. We didn't think we were going to get in any trouble. We thought, like, okay, yeah, this is just some bug. But why aren't we going to capitalize on it? So I don't know. I don't know if everyone should get banned or not. At the same, that's a tricky one. That's a tricky one. I don't know. I'm trying to think of like other bugs in this game, or maybe even others, where you could effectively get a bunch of items easier.
Yeah,
or something.
It is exploiting a bug, though.
It is. That's the thing.
Especially if you've kept it to yourself. It's different than like the twisted bows spawning on the ground and you picking them up, but they roll back the servers for that. Like, this one's so much harder to catch.
Yeah.
And it's obviously like a coding or whatever over. I'm not a nerd, so I'm just kidding. I don't know a ton about the coding side of the game, so I'm sure it's just some simple issue that they didn't think about or overlooked.
Yeah.
That wouldn't have been caught in testing. So, fair enough.
Yeah. It's a tricky one. If you walk by and you find a T-bow spawn, do you pick those T-bows up? Probably, but then do you go ahead and sell them? Would that be like exploiting if you then went ahead and sold them or used it if you didn't have one? Yeah, it's like, how could you not? How could you not sell them? Now, but then it gets tricky. What if you sell them and you know you're going to get caught, you're going to get rolled back, they're going to pull the T-bows, so then you buy a bunch of bonds, apply it to your account so you have a lifetime membership. Oh, then
and they banhammer your account.
Yeah, exactly. Then you know that this
the real way to do it is to real world trade it. But I'm not suggesting you do that. I'm not suggesting you do that. But I'm just saying, if you're gonna cheat, like, you may as well go all the way.
Yeah.
Just it's crazy. But anyways, this is quite the bug, honestly.
Yeah.
Quite the bug. You basically guarantee yourself a purple if you're in like a large team.
Yeah, definitely, especially at a high
You're,
level.
You're probably rolling like at your like 8-man teams. You're probably rolling like 40% every time one person steps in the chamber.
Wow.
So it's basically guaranteed to get one.
Oh boy. Yeah. So
I wonder if that's why we see some people on like Reddit with like just insane collection logs.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, oh, I've got 60 raids and I've got 20 purples. It's like something's a little suspicious there, brother.
Yeah. Yeah. Is there? And it's like also, what other bugs just don't go discovered that are like known by a few people?
Anyways, so that was the hot drama this week in the.
As expected, with a big update like this, you kind of expect that sort of stuff. Some cool stuff, and of course, on the topic of Tombs of Masket, there's with some updates that they've been doing. They've been tweaking a bunch of things. There's like almost like this door that appeared at the end of the raid with a keyhole. It looked like that wasn't there before, and when you examined it, it was something like, oh, it looks like there's something there. And then Jagex released some cryptic messages on Twitter, and then they released a dev blog that was basically a mysterious message that was pretty vague. It was basically like, you're like, oh, this is some crack the clue kind of thing. It was discovered pretty fast, but it turns out with each of the bosses, they drop like an item if you do the most DPS, or if you solo it, you're going to get it every time. And if you use these items, you're able to get this new mask called the Mask of Rebirth, or what a lot of people are calling the e-girl headgear, because it kind of makes you look like a cat. And that's pretty fun. There's a whole bunch of steps involved, including using your camulet, your camel amulet. You need a spade, a bucket of water. You need to be able to talk to the bank camel, which is one of the steps, and then it can lead you a little bit further. And then with these items, if you use them on different NPCs, the big banana from Baba, if you use it on Awugi at Apatol, if you use the Fang, if you have the Fang on you and you dig in a spot on the small island during the quest beneath Cursed Sands, you unlock the next step. Anywho, eventually you get the ancient key. You use the ancient key on the room at the end of the raid, and boom, you get the e-girl helmet, the e-girl mask, the Mask of Rebirth, which is cool. Those things are always pretty fun.
Yeah,
it kind of came out of nowhere, which is pretty nice. All right, Tombs of Masket, all done. Next up, we have basically more info on the quest speedrunning. The beta is out, so people can try it. I talked to a few people who tried it, and they said it's quite fun, but they're also the type to enjoy speedrunning things. Some of it did seem fun. Some of it seemed like kind of tough, but also not too tough. But more importantly, the results for the rewards came out, and basically, we'll just quickly run through it. A lot of things passed, but some didn't. So getting speedrunning trophies, depending on how fast you can complete the quest speedrunnings, did pass. The Adventurer's outfit, there's 3 different tiers, similar to how leagues work. That would pass, and this is going to be a graceful recolor. A new teleport, which it's called the Speedy Teleport, makes you look like you're running somewhere, did pass. And then the giant stopwatch did pass as well. But they all passed with only 80%, so 20% said no, which is kind of closer to failing than you would expect. Now, there was a question, should these items be tradable? And that failed. So they are to be untradable. And then another item, should these items be added onto the collection log? And that failed. So, which is strange because that seems not consistent with everything else that's in the collection log. I guess league stuff isn't on there, so I guess that makes sense. But it failed with only 4%. So 30% said no, which is the same, not the same, but 30% of the people also said no to making it tradable. Oh, sorry, making it untradable. So is there a link there? I don't know.
It is untradable?
Yeah, they'll be untradable, but also...
That's good.
Yeah, not on the collection log. Yeah, it's a cool prestige item, but I wonder if it not being in the collection log is going to affect who's grinding for it. I know I'm going to care less about it personally.
How did you feel about? Did you vote yes for that? Like it should have been.
So I am a terrible citizen of Gielinor. I did not exercise my right to vote for this one. I forgot.
So your opinion is irrelevant.
I'm not allowed to complain. I get to sit there and whatever happens, happens. I don't know. What do you think?
I voted. I can't remember. I think I voted yes, but I understand why people voted no because basically it's on a separate server.
Mm-hmm.
So why would you get things on your collection log for your account that's not on that separate server in separate world?
Right.
Like same with the same reason the Trailblazer League and all the leagues items aren't available on the collection log, even though I guess those are time gated, so it's a bit different.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I don't know. I would have been fine. It really doesn't matter to me either way.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm probably just not going to do it.
Yeah.
But I understand there's a lot of people that are really excited for it. And the Graceful looks so cool. Have you seen it?
It does look quite cool. Yeah. It doesn't really look like a Graceful set, which is fine.
Which is kind of nice. It's nice to have a little bit of diversity in Graceful.
Yep, totally. Yeah, it does look quite cool. Almost looks like if Graceful and the Legends Guild came out with their own Graceful set. They worked together on it. Sort of.
Yeah, we could do with a little bit more diversity among Graceful, I would say, in this game because of how ubiquitous it is. Like everyone uses it for everything, especially early to mid game. So I like there's more options.
Yeah, it is quite cool. Yeah, and it looks neat. I will try it out. I'm excited to watch people try it because that is something that's fun. Somebody linked to a video series on YouTube that I hadn't seen before, which was this person who is speed running their account to maxing all skills. And they're coming up with all the most ridiculous ways to train, including having an alt to do a transfer special in order for this person to always be able to use their dragon hatchet spec to keep their wood cutting level boosted, stuff like that. That's pretty ridiculous. So I do like watching speed running things. So it should be interesting, and I will probably try it. Like speed running a cook's assistant could be fun. That's such a short quest that could be fun to optimize. I probably wouldn't do it for a longer quest because that's not much. Yeah, that seems less fun. But
part of the quest is like taking your time and enjoying it too.
Yeah, so. True. Yeah. Anyways, should be interesting. So yeah, if you want to try it, they got the beta worlds open for you to try, which is quite cool. And hey, while you're in those beta worlds, they are testing out some of the Wilderness boss rework items that are going to be coming in, so you can try them out there. And then they have the Poison Dynamite as well, which is this random item. It looks like people are calling it like a broccoli bomb because it looks like broccoli when it explodes, but it's this weird item that they're bringing out that will allow you to kill something and not gain experience. Doesn't sound useful, but it is useful for people who make 10 HP accounts. I made one a while back, a Ultimate Iron Man, and it was actually quite fun. I had more fun on it than I thought I would. And there is a large community of, not large, but bigger than you'd expect, of people who play these type of accounts. And they did some update way back, which there was this like bug that allowed you to kill monsters without gaining experience. And they ended up patching that. And then a lot of 10 HP accounts were upset because they could no longer kill things. That means a lot of quests couldn't be done. A lot of the Slayer in general couldn't be done, which I guess is how they did it. So this is their response to that. They're giving out this new broccoli bomb. It's interesting.
Very cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Anywho, that is it for updates. Anything else we want to talk on before we take a quick break?
Nope.
This week's episode of the Wilderness Podcast is brought to you by our supporters. I can't remember how I start this segment off, but we're going to do it this time. If you want to support the show, from time to time we had people asking how to support the show. I never know why, but I don't ask questions. We have a few ways of doing that. We do have Patreon, if you want to do a monthly pledge, anything from as low as $1, and then we have a a $10 tier Canadian, so you have to do the conversions, but that's patreon.com/The Wilderness Podcast if you would like to do that. It helps keep the lights on over here at the Wilderness Podcast Studios, and we do greatly appreciate it. Of course, if you are one of our top tier supporters, you do get a shout out and a thank you every single episode. So thank you to Yay Fiber, The Kazi, Spleemo, Mallard, P Jackals, Strosity, Yolfi, Ferric, and Bronze Yawn. Thank you guys all so much for supporting the show. But of course, thank you to every other person who supports the show as well. Like, it really truly means a lot. And thank you so much to everyone who has supported in the past, and you know what, maybe even down the line, down in the future. So thank you guys all so much for supporting. But I do have to say thank you to everyone else who does just listen to the show and provide some great feedback. One way you can give feedback, again, my DMs are always open, as they say, but if you ever have anything that you just don't like about the show, you can always send in a message, because I always take feedback very seriously. And of course, you can leave us a rating and a review on iTunes, Apple Podcasts, and I think even Spotify, although I can't find them, but I read all of them, and it does help a lot to gain visibility. So yeah, feel free to do that as well if you feel like doing that. If you're one of those people who love reviewing stuff, I like reviewing stuff for some reason. I find myself constantly. I am, guys, I don't mean to brag, but I am a local guide on Google reviews. I'm a trusted reviewer because I love writing reviews. I'll write stuff for like Wendy's. I got stuck in a Wendy's drive-through lineup once for 45 minutes, and I got stuck. I got into the spot where like I couldn't move. I couldn't leave. It was terrible. Same with Tim Hortons once. I got stuck in like a 40. Okay, this quick little rant. I was in Tim Hortons drive-through. I got stuck there for like 35 minutes. That sucks, especially when all I wanted was a coffee. But you know, if I always say, like, if I wanted a really fast coffee, I should have just made one at home. But so it wasn't that big of a deal. But I'll admit, I got a little annoyed when I looked, and you could see like behind the building, the drive-thru went around, and behind the building there was like 5 Tim Hortons workers, all like smoking cigarettes, just chilling and talking, and they were all like maybe teens, right? So, and then when I got to the front of the drive-thru, one person was in there, which is why it was taking so long. And I was like, you know what? I've worked in fast food and like grocery stores when I was in high school and stuff. I know exactly what happened. A bunch of people decided to like, let's take all of our breaks at the same time, or let's take our breaks right when other people are leaving. There's a shift change going on. And maybe the new people who are coming in to cover the new shift, they're like, we're gonna be a few minutes late. Let's all hang out for 5-10 minutes or so. And just screwed over that one person in there. Anyways, it was bad. So I left them a scathing review. So anyways, I don't know what that means. I'm a trusted reviewer. So if you ever see Dills reviewed something, you guys can trust that source. Okay, so this is Patreon, but you know what? Some people still want to support the show, but they don't want to use Patreon. Maybe you don't want to get tied into the monthly subscription, which I get. There's a few times where I'm sitting there, I'm on a few Patreons, and I realized, oh, I don't consume this person's content that much anymore, and I don't really have the money to be paying X amount of dollars a month for it. So I probably should cancel this. It's easy to forget, is what I'm trying to say. But anywho, I do have to say thank you to 2JZ Soup, Waging Wars, and Zan Goblin. So thank you guys so much for supporting the show. And of course, 2JZ Soup left the comment of Dingoes represent. Hell yeah. Waging Wars, Best ORS podcast. Thank you all for your time and content. And then Zan Goblin says, love the podcast, and I always look forward to listening to it. Keep up the great work. Guys, thank you so much for not just the coffees, but also for the kind words. Really do appreciate it. And last but not least, some people like to take advantage of Discord's feature of having Discord Nitro, which is that's like having members for Discord. You get a few cool perks, but honestly, it's really nothing like game changing, but it is kind of cool if you are an avid Discord user. So thank you, Toddy, Battlestaves, Chick, Hoyt, Cosmonaut, To You I Say, and Twisted Soul. Guys, thank you all for supporting the server. And because of that support, we have the unique URL of URL of the discord.gg/the wilderness. So if you want to join our Discord and come hang out, that is the easy URL to access it. So thank you everyone who supports the show. All right, let's get this bad boy out. It is Friday, September 23rd. And, guys, I just moved to the east coast of Canada, and a little welcome surprise. We're getting hit by a hurricane tonight. So I was like, I gotta get this episode out this morning, or else it might be sitting for a little bit. I don't know. What happens during a hurricane? I don't even know. Maybe it gets some windy, so it's gonna get windy. So maybe I'll have to bust out the old kite and take that bad boy for a spin. But let's just pray I can continue playing RuneScape. So, and then everything will be fine. There's no wind in Gielinor, right? It's not even a sky. It's all nighttime all the time, or maybe we're underground. Who knows? Okay, I've been blabbling on enough. Let's get to the end of the show and hear what our callers had to say about this week's question of the week. Toodaloo. Okay, and we are back. And we got some calls. So last week I put it out there. What is your old school gripe in this game, or what is something you want to rant about? Heartless, you weren't here to give an answer. Is there anything that comes to mind when you think there's just something you just irks you about this game?
That's a good question, Dills. I'd have to think about that one. Nothing comes to the top of my head right away. I'm sure there are many things, but, you woke me up super early this morning, so I'm not functioning at 100% yet. I haven't had any coffee.
You haven't had any coffee? Oh boy. Well,
no, dude, I was up too early for coffee.
Oh man.
I didn't want to wake up my girlfriend with the machine going in the background. I guess I could have broken out the hand press, but it's way too far back in the cupboard for me.
Do you have a hand grinder? Or do you grind beans, or do you use pre-ground?
I do grind them, so I think I'm out of grind. I would have had to grind them, and then I have a French press, and then I have a machine, so I usually just use the machine.
Nice. I'm all about that whole bean ground.
I'm not a super coffee guy. I love coffee, but I don't know as much about it as some of the people that listen to the show. I know we have some really big coffee people in here. Mm-hmm. Super cool. I would love to get into it, but it seems rather expensive, and I have enough expensive hobbies as is. So yeah. I'm just gonna stick to loving coffee as is.
I like cream. I like sweetener in mine. So any coffee aficionado is probably we're not the same.
You're a criminal. Yeah, I do a touch of sugar, a touch of milk, and that's pretty much it.
Oh yeah. Anywho, without further ado, let's get into our first caller.
Hello, Wilderness Boys. It is Maticos1. Again, I am at the office today. Nobody's here, though. It's a stormy day, and no one wanted to come into the office. Why am I even talking about this? Anyway, my gripe with old school RuneScape is honestly that nobody seems to play mini games just for fun. Even in the last episode, Dills was talking about how he's at splashing at Castle Wars, and it's disappointing to me that nobody just goes to pest control and plays for fun instead of just trying to get the void armor, or goes to barbarian assault and just wants to have fun, or Castle Wars, like I said, dual arena maybe, but otherwise it just seems like most people are either not playing the mini games, or already have and have gotten their rewards, or are just there to get the reward. So anyway, that's my biggest gripe. And continue making great episodes. Looking forward to this one. Bye.
Well, thank you so much, Mr. Maticos. One of these days, we're going to hear your boss in the background being like, "Where Maticos one? Where's
Maticos one? What the fuck are you doing? Get off the phone?
Where's that report?" Or
these long distance calls to America or Canada are costing us.
It's gonna start being called collect or something. Now it's funny.
Yeah. What do you think about this one?
It's true. You know what? I'm on the collection log hunt, and I've been getting the Castle Wars items, but I'm not playing Castle Wars. I am AFKing it instead. So when I went to Soul Wars, I didn't really play Soul Wars properly because it wasn't that much fun. But I found a way to boost it, which is like kind of AFK. And most things are like that, which is you do it for the reward. Even though a lot of there are a bunch of things that I do and I go, wow, this was fun. I enjoyed this. When I get a good team out for Barbarian Assault, I'm like, this is fun. I do enjoy this, but I would never do it for no other reason except for the rewards, which is kind of sad. It is kind of sad when you think about it. Yeah, I don't know. What are your thoughts?
I think we've talked about this before. It's just the natural progression. Like we're all older now, you know, late 20s, early 30s, mid 20s. That's kind of the age of the player base. We're not children. So like, I think we're motivated by efficiency, by rewards, rather than just having fun.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of these mini games sort of cater towards, you know, just having fun, just messing around. And people don't really want to do that anymore, which is, I mean, fair enough. And also pest control. Sorry, Maticos one. Pest control sucks. Nobody goes there for fun. Even when you're a child, it was not how I was there for the rewards when I was a child. But at Castle Wars, though, that's a different one. Your Barbarian Assault remains the only minigame I will go back to because it's fun.
Mm-hmm.
It's enjoyable with a good team. It's not enjoyable when you're like, you know, out there. Someone has like a dragon longsword and like a rune chain body. And they're like, I'll play defender. It's like, oh no, this is going to be a long run. That's when it's frustrating. But when you're doing it with a good team, it's enjoyable. But I see where he's coming from, and yeah, it's a good point.
Yeah, like I mean, on the counter for pest control, I did enjoy it in small bursts. It is not fun if you're going from like no points to like getting your full void. That's too much in one go. But I remember I did enjoy. It was nice to randomly go do a few matches and then go do something else. But yeah, I also think a lot of it is like a lot of these activities aren't that much fun. Like Soul Wars, Castle Wars 2, even those are fun if it's like balanced and a really close back and forth. But what usually happens is you got some guy who's 126 decked out with like 2 bill worth of gear. And even if you're level 126 with like 1 bill worth of gear, you're like it's no, like you're not doing any damage to them because they're just so tanky. It's not fun. I've been there and I was like, this is fucking stupid. This is not fun at all. This is stupid. And then when you do balance things, having the reward there is nice because we do like that little carrot on a stick. But look at the PvP arena. It is fun. I have enjoyed it. But nobody does it. No one
dead on release.
No one is doing it. I don't know if I talked about it, but I tried doing it the other day just to see what was up. There was 3 people in queue, and I kept getting paired up with this one dude who was like significantly a higher rank than me, and he just he destroyed me. But besides that, no one else was even in queue, and I was like, this is really sad. That this is like how fast this died. But there are things that are fun, and yeah, like PvP rewards, the Berthorpe Games Room.
You say the birth rope?
You know what? Old school pronunciation.
What's going on up in Berthorpe? The birth.
I used to call it birth rope when I was younger.
Is that the umbilical cord, the birth rope?
Yeah, exactly. But playing Connect 4, that can be a lot of fun. But yeah, a lot of people don't do it because like you got to find someone, and no one's really looking for people to do it. So it does get tricky. And then there are things that are fun. When you don't have the reward, it's like sometimes you're like, this is fun in the moment, but I should probably go do something else. Like I think of trouble trekking. So, some irons do it for like bowstring and stuff. And you do it for the lumberjack.
You wouldn't do raids if they didn't have rewards.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, would you do?
And they're fun.
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't do them if they weren't rewarding.
Yeah. So it's
what's the point? Or what's the point? There doesn't feel like there's any point.
Yeah.
But anyways, that's my adult brain thinking, not my 10-year-old brain who just wants to, go and play Castle Wars all Saturday.
You know what? The way we play this game is a lot like how we grow up in the world. A lot of the times you do stuff because it has some sort of reward, whether it's just enjoyment, which that's not RuneScape, but in real life you'll watch TV because it's fun. and relaxing. But we want to have something at the end that we don't work for free usually, right? We're working for the money. Even if we do enjoy our job, you probably still wouldn't. Even if you loved your job, you probably still wouldn't do it if it didn't pay. This might be worth circling back afterwards, because one thing I've always thought was weird is like we don't have a horde mode. It's not really a mini game, but we don't have any horde mode activities in this game. We have sort of with like fight caves, the Inferno, pest control, sort of, but we don't have any. A lot of games have these horde modes, and I always thought RuneScape should have one where you just get waves and waves of monsters, not really bosses, but maybe small monsters and different types, but they just keep sending more and more and more.
Like an infinite Inferno?
Sort of, but instead of having like Jads and all this sort of stuff, you're just fighting like a bunch of maybe a bunch of smaller monsters. And you just see how long you can last.
Spread in there. Yeah, I think that could be cool.
Yeah, and then maybe you get, depending how long you last, you get rewarded for that.
There have been like tower defense type mini games in quests. If you think of Song of the Elves, where you have to like defend the gates.
Yeah, that's cool.
Against the different things. So there's room for some kind of tower defense type thing where you could try to last long, but there'd have to be good rewards.
Yeah, that's it. It needs to be tied.
An upgrade to the Din's Bulwark or something.
Yeah, and like maybe specifically uniques too, because that always pulls people in. But it has to be fun too. Like, it's annoying when you have to do me doing Castle Wars and AFKing there for 150 hours. Isn't fun.
No, totally.
But hard to find a match. All right.
Thanks, Matt. Cost one.
Yes,
good luck not getting in trouble with your boss.
And then we got one more. It's anonymous. I'll play it and I'll do the lead in. All right. So next up, to talk about their gripes, a little RuneScape rent, a little vent sesh from Mr. Ted's. Let's hear what he has to say.
Hello, Dills and Heartless. This is John, also known as Mr. Ted's, also known as Shep Malone on my hardcore. Calling to answer this week's question, what my gripe with OSRS is. I don't really have a gripe with the game itself. I love this game, warts and all, and I've signed up to play it, so I'm happy to be playing it. One thing I will say is, and this is not to bash the dev team, I think we have a great dev team who tries really hard to do a good job, and usually they do. But I think that sometimes there can be mismatched expectations between the devs and the community. And this is very obvious if you spend any amount of time on Reddit. So I think we might be helped if the devs would communicate like a clear design philosophy or release philosophy or something like that. Might be helpful, at least in, I'm not saying we should or shouldn't have a new skill, but it's can be frustrating from a player who has some investment in this game. It can sometimes feel like we're being shaken around. So anyways, yeah, thanks for having this podcast. Heartless, I just moved to Bellingham, Washington, so I'm about an hour south of you, so I hope to catch you on the sand dunes sometime soon. Anyways, best of luck, guys. RNG be with you.
Oh, right. It's an interesting, I think. So first off, Mr. Ted, thanks for the call. Yeah, that's an interesting rant because I do agree, but I also disagree at the same time in the sense that like sometimes I feel like Jagex is very transparent in a lot and like way more than most games. But it does. Now, the part that I do agree with is that I don't know what their 5-year plan is for this game, and I don't know if they even have one. Whereas, like, I played Destiny 2, and they would release like here's our like 5 to 7 year plan, and these are the expansions that will be released over the lifetime of this game. Now, there's a bunch of updates that come in between that aren't that are like kind of unknown to us, but with Destiny 2. 4 years in, boom, this big expansion comes out, and then I'm like, oh yeah, that was in the roadmap. That was planned from the release of Destiny 2, basically. Whereas like with old school RuneScape, it does feel like it's almost like the roadmap is 6 months chunks. Like they don't know.
Yeah, they don't go too far ahead, do they? They keep things close to their chest. I wonder if they're because of COVID. I think it just seems like COVID threw such a huge wrench into how they worked.
Yeah.
And they just lost. There was quite a lot of turnover with people. There always kind of has been. with Jagex. And I wonder if that makes it difficult for them to like commit to these long-term plans when, people don't stick around forever at their company. And, COVID was obviously took quite a large toll on them. But I think Tez is right. The players would benefit from knowing what's coming up the pipeline. But then, of course, they would have to have dates attached to that. And you know how we get with like dates and release dates, and they've fucked up so badly in the past. They've been really good this year. I think Toa release was like magnificent. Like basically went off without a hitch. There's nothing wrong with it. So I think they've done a pretty good job overall the last year. So I think maybe they could look towards doing something like this. But yeah, I can see why it's tough for them.
Yeah, and especially when they deviate from it. There's so many times where I don't know if it's still like this, but individual JMods were so integral to a specific piece of content coming out. We had this with like the rare fossils with Fossil Island. It's been years and we have no use for it. And the reason is because the person who was in charge with developing what their use was going to be for this demi boss. There's a whole room underneath the museum where this fight could potentially take place. I remember them talking about it, about this being this like wyvern boss. What were the rewards going to be? Maybe a bone whip was proposed. There's a bunch of different stuff. And same with like the long bones and curved bones. Right now, all you can do is turn it in for construction experience, and they're really rare to get.
Yeah.
But the pitch was like a new type of construction tool you can make with these. So I keep all mine because I think it might come out. But anyways, point is that JMod left, and those ideas are basically gone. Like there's no plans for it anytime soon, at least.
Yeah, I wonder how we don't know how they work within their company. So do they do team-based stuff? Do they have like one person working on one project? Do they delegate? I'd be curious to hear a little bit more about how their inner workings are.
Yeah.
But anyways, he also mentioned like the disconnect between like the larger player base, or at least Reddit, and maybe what the devs think. Now, I think Reddit is usually not the brightest group of tools.
Yeah, they're like the hardcore, like the
hardcore noobs, or the hardcore. That's what we'll call them. They care enough to like go on Reddit and check the news, but they don't care enough to like get super involved. Anyways, I think Jagex, like usually the employees, especially the older ones who are maybe making the decisions on the gameplay direction, have played the game for a long time, so they maybe have a better understanding of what the game needs or what it's lacking. And Reddit is usually a little bit more casual, so they don't. I think that's probably why things don't always line up.
Yeah, and I think
we've talked about like them having their ear to the high level community versus the larger player base sometimes. So it's tough. I think they really just need to release content for like all different levels of players. I think the high level community does need a new piece of content like the Inferno, but more challenging. Maybe not more challenging, but like equally challenging, that can be made more challenging. Like they talked about these, like, you remember those three dudes in below Konar, the big statue guys? Yep. They talked about them having like a really big like Inferno style challenge with like rewards and replayability that could be like way harder. And maybe an untradeable drop. Like, what if that thing dropped like a 4% magic damage cape that just looked incredibly cool? Or you could bind it to one of the other old gods, like Saren or Zeros. You know what I mean? Yep. Like, you could bind it to one of those gods. That would be kind of cool. Like, there's lots of room for improvement. I think they do need to release content for all different levels of players. And I think they need to release it at a better pace than they have in the last 4 years.
Yeah.
I think that'll solve a lot of the problems. And then maybe Ted's is right. They need to say like, oh, this is aimed at this level of player, or this is aimed at this level of player. So, but oh, look, if you can't do this Inferno challenge that's aimed at the high level community, then, you can look forward to the giant turtle boss that's coming out for Hunter or whatever. So I think a roadmap would help, making everyone seem a bit more on board, or like what updates are coming out for them.
Yeah, I think like 2022 has been a good year. If we compare it to, go back and listen to, we always do like a year in review for New Year's, and last year's was not really great. We didn't have much to talk about when we looked back on all the updates for the years. Quite quiet, seeing as we're talking about 52 weeks worth of updates.
It was basically combat achievements and Temporos last year. And this year, we've already gotten Raids 3 and Nex. Plus, we've gotten some reworks in between.
And then Guardians of the Rift, new quests.
True.
This year's been pretty big. And, if they still have planned the Wilderness Boss rework, these quest speedrunning, there's a lot that's been coming up this year.
I think, besides Raids 3, if they release the same amount of content next year, but swap Raids 3 out for another piece of content that isn't quite as big, that would be great. But a raid every 2 years would be ideal.
I think I agree. And then having a lot of other fun stuff in between.
I do hope they've already gotten the concepts and have started working on Raids 4. For whatever it is.
I feel like they need to start a rough idea.
They should really have a rough idea of what it looks like.
Yeah, I think most companies, right? They release a game and they start working on the next. Or
they already have a team working on the next one while the first one's getting released. Magic the Gathering has that. They have the future team that works on sets that are coming out in 5 to 10 years.
It's smart.
So people are just they're practicing with wacky cards and trying them with synergies and stuff like that.
And it gives you just so much time to develop it and really fine tune it. And just rough concepts. So that's some great stuff.
But anyways, I do think we have a good dev team. The mods are really quite good in this game, and they care passionately about it.
Yep.
And are they perfect? No, but I don't expect them to be. I think they've improved a lot over the last couple of years. So I think we have a good team.
Totally. I think I
think especially the community managers are great.
Oh yeah.
Aiza, Light Goblin, they're all so good.
And all the updates have been so great this year. This has been a really awesome year for everything. Most things at least. If every year was like this, it's going to be awesome. But I think every year is going to continue to grow even more skilling stuff, more, there's just so many corners you can hit with this game. So it should be fun.
Yeah.
Oh, right. So that brings us to our quick question of the week. I had one planned, but we'll save it for next week because Maticos one, you have made a great suggestion. Because I want to hear about what everyone's favorite mini game is. If you could revive a mini game, it doesn't even have to be why or how, but if you have some sort of attachment to it, how could you make a mini game desirable? Whether it's a whole new revamp. I think, for instance, Fishing Trawler on paper is really cool, but actually doing it sucks. But if you went and recreated it from the ground up, if Fishing Trawler came out in 2023, I think it'd be awesome. I'm curious to hear. Heartless, anything come to mind that you wish was just better? Was more fun, or was just revamped using the same concept ideas?
Fight pits would be a good one. It's useless currently.
Yeah.
So that would be probably number one for me. And Fishing Trawlers, obviously just horrific content. It's really, really bad. Do not like that at all. I think the best one is Barbarian Assault. It's the most fun. The problem is a lot of them don't have good rewards. I think ultimately that's what it comes down to. Barbarian Assault has the torso, which is a best in slot. If it gave it a monetary value, I'd say a torso is probably worth 15 million GP. That's how good it is.
Yeah, that's a good. It's almost like the original raid.
It is. It's almost the original, and you can get it at level 45. It's insane, and it's kind of a fun game once you get the hang of it. But a lot of these mini games in our game just don't have rewards. Volcanic Mine, I also have never done it, so I can't complain. But it just doesn't have enough rewards to be super enticing. If you cranked up the rewards on Volcanic Mine, put a dragon pickaxe in there, maybe put a sweet ornament kit. Maybe put a set of gloves that let you. I don't know. I'm just spitballing here.
No, yeah, I totally agree.
Put some kind of other unique mining item that makes maybe it makes Motherlode Mine veins have a chance to last twice as long or instantly refresh,
sweet.
stuff like that. maybe that's too OP, but you know what I mean? Like some kind of cool, unique that's like chase and desirable. Then you'll have people flocking to the content to do it. PvP arena, great content, shit rewards, so no one does it.
Yeah, that's it.
So I think that's ultimately the mini games issue. Like Guardians of the Rift, fun mini game, great rewards. Everyone does it. So
yep, that's that.
Anyways, it's been you know what, Dils? You're gonna have to buy me a coffee after this one. It's been a long morning.
The grande latte.
You'd have to take your buy me a coffee money and send it my way today. Yeah, exactly. Venti, dude, as big as I can get.
Okay, well, let's wrap this bad boy up. If you want to do a call-in, answer a question of the week or any of the questions of the week, just make sure you click that SpeakPipe link below. But you can also send us a message on Discord to join our Discord server. It's discord.gg/thewilderness. If you want to send in an email, it is thewilderness@gmail.com. If you want to send us a tweet, you can do that at The Wilderness RS. You know, there is another American political podcast called The Wilderness, and a new season just came out, which means we are getting a whole bunch of amazing tweets from people, which you know what? Shout out to Barb right now for saying, maybe I'm old, but listen, your ads are mush and worthless and blather, and that I am surprised your company pays for it. So cutesy, but it makes me think less of the whole podcast. How about be more professional? And then she goes on to complain about the DNC and other PAC. I don't know what these acronyms mean.
And then she goes on to complain about the drop rates of TOA.
Thanks, Barb. Thank you very, very much.
That's Barb on Reddit over there.
So it's always fun when the new season of The Wilderness other podcast comes out, because we get confused for it all the time. But anywho, yeah, our email is thewilderness@gmail.com. I might have already said it, but you can send in your answers to any of those platforms. And our in-game clan is Clan Wild if you want to come hang out in our clan. Heartless, anything you want to pitch before we get on out of here?
Nope, come join the Discord.
Amazing. All right. So
and the clan, course, I guess our clan is almost full though, so be careful.
Yeah, that's right.
It's a testament to how well we've promoted our community. Our clan is absolutely capped at 500. We're still we still have room to let people in, so don't worry about it. But it's I think it's just a testament to how we've grown the community, Dills, through like our events and the podcast and just the consistency. We've got a really, really great community, and I'm very proud of it. So thank you everyone who's a part of it. It means a lot.
Oh, 100%. It's crazy. I don't even know how to explain it. I remember the days where nobody was in the clan and people would join up and they'd be like, is this for the podcast? And then I would say, yep. And they'd be like, okay, well, no one else is here, so I'm dipping. And then one person would stay. Anyways, it's really crazy to see where it is today. So anyways, it's so much fun. I made so many friends. Heartless, we met through the clan as well.
Totally, dude. We have one of the largest clans in the game, I would imagine, at this point, because I have checked on like Wise Old Man and stuff, and we're one of the highest synced players in for clans. We have like over 600, even active players. So it's very impressive, like how large our community has gotten. Yeah, I met so many lifelong friends through here. Like I wouldn't change it. So if you're out there looking to like meet new people, I would really highly recommend joining our clan.
Yeah, it is fun, and yeah, it is mind blowing to say the least, and it's probably one of the biggest reasons why I keep playing. Everyone that I've made friends with that continue to play every evening with. So yeah, some great stuff. Anywho, I get all flustered, man, just thinking back on it. It's been a crazy journey, but anyways, it's crazy. You guys are the best. Anywho, we do have to pick a song of the week, of course, and I think it should have been played a few weeks ago, but we had some great submissions and other suggestions, so we are going to be playing A Masket's Promise. This is the song that plays at the final fight of the new TOA Raids 3, and it is such a great song for such a cool fight, and it really adds to the entire battle. Anywho, guys, thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for continuing to hang out and writing in and all that sort of stuff. I really do appreciate it. But yeah, we will see you next week.
See ya.